We have a new guest joining us alongside Waziri Brian Mulama, who will be leaving halfway through this conversation to attend to other meetings and his activities, of course, of what he's doing, coordinating rescue and support efforts in the city county. But now we are now joined by Mzalendo Wanjira. Mzalendo is the community organizer and co-founder of the Mathare Social Justice Center. Wanjira, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Asante sana for having me this morning.
Very good. Now, good city. Welcome Wanjira with the day's proverb.
Yes.
And Wanjira, what you need to do is listen to the proverb and we'll ask for your interpretation of it.
Okay.
The proverb for this week are from
The Republic.
The proverbs for this week are from
The proverbs for this week are from the Republic of Algeria. Okay? As we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked.
As we didn't say a word, he thought he could do anything he liked. How do you interpret that, Wanjira?
That's a good proverb. It reminds me of a saying I had the other day. Someone said, one day we are going to ask the dictator, how did you become a dictator? And they're going to say, because nobody stopped me.
Hey. Nice. Very good.
Yeah, that is my interpretation of that proverb.
That is very direct.
You're started to about.
Hiyo ni very direct na tumekubali. Wanjira, we've introduced you and meet Brian Mulama. He's the CCM for Mobility and Works in the Nairobi City County government. In the previous hour, we were talking about the work that the Nairobi City County is doing in response to the current situation in the county and preparation for any future events and what mitigation measures they're putting in place. Waziri, Wanjira is coordinating right now support for victims of Mathare. But before I speak on your behalf, just tell us, what is the Mathare Social Justice Center, and what are you doing right now?
Well, the Mathare Social Justice Center is a community-based organization that tries to bring about social justice in Mathare. We started with human rights documentation of what is happening in Mathare, the extrajudicial executions, and now we are faced with the ecological crisis that we have to step in and come through for our community in terms of mobilizing support for victims of floods. So we have documented so many people that need help. Our data has gone to over 1,000 people, actually 1,000 families that have been affected. We're also trying to gather how many people have gone with the floods. And we're trying to get support for all these victims. Yesterday, I went to Mathare 4B and it was horrible seeing mothers with small babies sleeping on the floor, no food. You know, even when we receive food donations, vitu zilienda na maji, vitu za kupika, gas, sufuria, everything, mattresses. So we are forced to set up a kitchen, sort of a community kitchen where we cook and people can come for hot meals, breakfast, lunch. Yeah, as we try and give out blankets, mattresses, and mobilize for books, especially because watoto wanarudi shule soon na hawana vitabu, uniforms na bags. So that is what we're trying to do at the moment.
You went to Mathare Area 4.
Yes.
Where are these victims? Are they in a concentrated area or are they back to their homes?
So most churches and schools are acting like the places where people are residing at the moment, but they're sleeping on the cold floor because there's no mattresses and the blankets. The one that were brought by Rigathi Gachagua, the vice president, are not enough. They brought 500 mattresses. So so many people are still needing mattresses and blankets. Others are outside because hawaizi toshea bado ndani ya shule na church wengine, especially the young men. Outside in the
open.
Yeah.
On the compound, just on the compound.
On the compound that is imejaa tu matope. You know how the flooding area looks like. You've seen the pictures and the videos. Yeah. So others are just outside. So when it rains, it's catastrophic because you have no warm clothes, you have no house to go to. It's just a horrible humanitarian ecological crisis that is going on. And not just in Mathare now, we can see that the floods have gone to other areas of the country as well. Maimahio, for example.
Yeah. Coming back to Mathare and just staying with Mathare, Waziri has told us about, various areas where people are seeking shelter and they're being offered shelter. And this is where the support is actually being directed. For example, the Mathare VTC, PAG Primary School, right? Mathare North Primary School and others. Have you been to these schools?
Yes, I have been.
Have you seen support coming to the people there?
I have seen, but what we're saying is it is not enough because these schools are not able to host all the victims of the floods. So there are still many other people who are yet to be reached. There are many other areas huko ndani ya Mathare watu hawajafikiwa. Kama jana watu wa Fubi, they have not seen any government intervention, they have not seen any help until we went yesterday and were surprised to see that there's also just as much sufferation in this area as well. So most visible areas kuna support, but huko ndani hakuna support inafika.
What do you see when you go into these areas? What are we talking about here when we talk about folks sitting outside, their houses are rained in? What exactly are the issues that you're seeing?
We are seeing women sleeping with children outside and calling for a mattress and a blanket. We're also seeing women call for women things like pads and panties and diapers for children. We're also seeing the young people needing warm clothes kwa sababu wanapea priority the women and the young children and the older. So the youths wako wamejiwacha tu hivyo peke yake, na tunajaribu mobilize also for warm clothes when we are doing a call for donations because it's still raining, it's still cold outside. Yeah. So food is also very important because as we have said, vitu za kupika kwa nyumba hakuna, hata tukienda tupeane unga na mkate na I mean cooking oil, there's nothing to cook
Atatumia nini kupika.
So
Waziri, this actually comes in, I've just thought about it. Schools are closed, all right? Dishina County is operating kitchens.
Yes.
Are you seeing what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we have got kitchens that are capable of preparing meals and taking to these particular areas.
Yes.
Right now, those kitchens do not have such a high demand because schools are closed.
Okay.
Can they be used to provide cooked meals that will be taken and distributed to these rescue centers?
Probably we can plan about this. You know, the schools were supposed to open this week on Monday. Thank God the government decided to now postpone the process to next week. So it's maybe in 4 days, 5 days, we can plan about it. But that will be a temporary measure. And probably want to appreciate what Wanjira and the team did, the good work they are doing, and coming out and being part of this. I always say they are not asking that what is that the government can do for us. What is it that we can do for the government? It's a collective responsibility. And I want to appreciate your team, the social justice team. I know you've got so many branches across Nairobi. I've worked with your teams. Maybe just to highlight maybe the area you're talking about 4B, I don't know, but most of the areas we have in Mathare is the Mathare VTC Center as one of our camps. There's the Valley Bridge Primary School. There's the PAG School, Gita Turu Hall. We have the Mzalendo School, a second church, Eldama Mathare 4A. Probably we can ask the entire team, because of the resources that we're having and struggling, we can ask some of these people now to move to areas where Nairobi County is taking good care of them, if there's that struggle in that particular area. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier on, that we need to fix this problem once and for all, just to allow and ask our people not to go back to live in the lower sides of Mathare. I know it's a problem. It's a historical problem that has taken place for many years. When during the colonial time they managed to get the highlands, and now the lowlands were meant for Africans. And by doing this, we need to now fix the problem, because we are projecting to, because of the global warming is different challenges, we'll have same problems maybe in some other times to come. So we need to find a permanent solution. to this problem.
Yeah, I'd like to weigh in on that, Waziri, and I'm glad that you trace it from the colonial era of landlessness that has never been addressed to date, because all the people that were living along the river, these are the cheapest houses you could find, ranging from 700 Kenyan shillings, 800, not more than 1,000 for rent. So this is someone who's living less than 100 shillings a day. Okay, so when we say we agree that people need to move from the riparian lands, but we also think that this would be a good opportunity for the government to actually allocate land for the most vulnerable of our population. So when we say we need to move them, where are we moving them to? What plans do the government have of actually allocating these people to dignity? Because their lives have been marred with indignity from the onset. Like some of the women who've lost Mama Victor and Jacinta Adhiambo, who lost their children to extrajudicial killings, who've lost their lives to the floods, who lost even their children. So this crisis is a big crisis that really needs dignity centered at the solution. How best can we provide dignity for these victims of floods in Mathare as the government of Kenya? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Probably it's I can say it's a global idea that he's trying to come up with, that the government should offer land.
Yeah.
I don't know if that can be a solution, but had mentioned earlier on that there's that Nairobi is the population of Nairobi is growing. Maybe in 1997 we were less than 2 million people. Right now we're about 5-6 million people. 2050 will be about 50 million. And I was having this discussion that about the affordable housing that we've been talking about. That would be a good solution to the problems we're having as Nairobians. Getting more land in Nairobi. Nairobi cannot grow horizontal. We can only go vertical. Can we have these houses? Can we embrace the entire process? Let's not politicize the entire process of having affordable housing, so that we can accommodate the people who are living in Mathare areas, Kibera areas, so that they can get a better place where they can come and live in. Secondly, we in our camp we I was trying to explain to Latif that we've been giving out about 10,000 to families that have been affected. She just mentioned about those people are living in houses that are paying rent that are less than 1,000 shillings. Probably for us, we'll feel like 10,000 is little money for them. But once they get about 10,000, they can get, even if it's a one-bedroom house, some other areas where probably the rent is about 5,000, 6,000. For them to be a relief, rather than living in a place where they're only paying 800 shillings and endangering their life. Yeah.
Waziri, the effort is laudable. You cannot say it is nothing because it is not nothing. It is a good thing. But in such circumstances, one wants to understand, even as we're dealing with the here and now, how do we ensure that should such a thing occur and it catches us off guard, we are prepared for being caught off guard? There are things like people living where they shouldn't be living. Surely that is something that the county government can sort out.
Yeah, it can be sorted.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe working with the Wanjira team, we'll go back to the entire team and do public participation and ask some of these people now to vacate those areas, because at the end of the day, they have their own rights. You can't go out and start fighting and telling people, no, it's high time to move. You must have an engagement with them to ask them, this is the high time. You've seen the effects that we are having. Secondly, as Wanjira just asked, where are they going to live? Where are we going to get the
alternative housing?
Yeah. Probably now if they get a higher places where they can get affordable houses, then it will be a permanent solution to the entire problem. I know Nairobians are very hardworking people. They just need to start off. If you help them just to start off again, I know they're resilient to go back and give their best in terms of performance, and they will pick up.
Probably.
So
the question, Waziri, then is what would your department be doing in coordination with the ward admins, because there is a ward administrator in every part of this county, and there is local county presence, there is local national government administration presence, and then there are community-based organizations and civil society movements such as Wanjira's, the Social Justice Center. What would they do to help in identifying alternative houses? So that you're not just saying, here is money, move, probably go look, probably go, you may need this and the other. So that there is even a database of available alternative houses where people could move to. And they say, you do not want to move very far from Mathare because probably where you work is close to Mathare. And so you do not want to completely uproot yourself and move to Kawangware when you've been living in Mathare and then where you've been working somewhere else side. There's a reason why this person is in Mathare and not Mukuru and not Kawangware.
Yes.
So when you say that move,
Where are they going?
yeah, are you in a position to suggest where they could move? I hear
They
you
know
saying
where they're supposed to move to. Once they get the money,
do not.
they know.
Wanjira, do they know where?
Wanjira, let me
There's
explain.
a lot of confusion.
Let me explain this to you, Latif.
Okay.
That you will not ask somebody that I want you to move from this particular place to probably moving from Mathare to Uruma Flats. They understand their geographical area. They know where they're supposed to move. The challenge that these people are having is, do they have the money to move? Once they get this money, they always get to a better place where they can now get a rental house and move to. You cannot say that today you'll get an apartment somewhere or get a facility somewhere and now go and rent for them and ask them, all of them to move to that particular facility.
There's of course what we can imagine, but then there's also the
That would not
situation
be
on the
realistic.
ground. Wanjira, I imagine that you've been on the ground for the last number of days.
Yeah, with my
What
team.
are we talking about here in terms of? I mean, because you've heard from people, if I could get some money, is that what they're saying? If I could get some money today,
I'll move.
I will move and I will go get another house and I'm fine. So
That's what they're
saying.
asking.
Wanjira, is that what you're hearing?
No, that is not what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is, how is the government coming to stand with us in this difficult time? How is the government coming to sort this problem in not a cosmetic way, but in a way that's a long-term solution? Can the government just provide houses, even as we take temporary cover at the moment?
What would that mean if the government
Article
providing...
43 of the Kenya says that all Kenyans have a right to proper housing, decent, dignified housing. And these are vulnerable Kenyans that are actually in need of this right now. So is this something that the government of Kenya can provide as directed by the Constitution of Kenya 2010?
Okay, today, the people who are in that church, who are sleeping on the compound in the open, right? What solution would work for them today?
Today, as the government is sorting out the
As part
housing
of government
bill.
solution.
As part of government solution.
Yeah, but today, mvua ikinyesha, afternoon, atanyeshewa. Yeye na watoto wake. So what's the solution?
For now, I think kuleta hizo mattresses na blanketi ita work for now, but we also need to get cash transfers. Hapo tu kwa church, mali wako, kwa sababu ni floor, mali wako kama tunaweza eka mattresses hapo watu walale na blanketi.
Is there a covering in the places?
There's covering.
There's a roof.
There's a roof.
Okay.
As is in the schools and all that, but you see that is very temporary, kwa sababu shule zitafunguliwa eventually. Hawa watu wataenda wapi? Tukiwatoa kwa hiyo cover.
She just mentioned about cash transfer.
Yeah, we have
Cash
to do cash
transfer.
transfers to these vulnerable people,
Okay.
so that they can also now jipanga, because also we can't. So everybody knows what they need at most right now, so we can do some cash transfers. Mtu aweze kujipanga as we think about the bigger.
You just mentioned wanajua
bigger
kujipanga.
plan.
Once they get the money, they'll move.
What would it look like, Wanjira?
If it was me, that
I'm asking you
vulnerable
this
situation,
because you are mobilizing resources to support these people, right?
Yeah.
We're asking Waziri whether he has a plan. We're also asking you because you're asking for money from the public. What's the plan? We give you money, then?
Yesterday we did some cash transfers to about 100 people to first of all get a place wanaweza lala, okay? To first of all get a rental they can get. But you know where they are going to? Back to Mathare too, but sasa uko juu.
Higher ground.
Unaona? Yeah, uko juu. But as we are saying, these houses in Mathare are not decent. Have you seen the houses in Mathare? They are shanties and shacks, yeah?
Yep.
They are not decent. We have sewerages zinatembea hapo nje. This is a
not
health
sewage.
hazard. Unaona?
Raw sewage.
Raw sewerage
Yes.
inatembea hapo nje. We have small babies wanaishi hapo. So there's no dignity in living in Mathare at the end of the day. So hata tukifanya hizi cash transfers watu waende kwa nyumba ziko hapo juu we still need the government to be able to provide dignified housing
Okay.
for the people of Mathare and other areas that are like Mathare.
So you're saying the same thing that what Waziri is saying. So first of all, cash transfer. Give these people money, let them go and look for a house
As
that is as a temporary solution.
Yes, I agree.
Because the social housing and affordable housing is a long term. It's not going to be ready in 3 months' time, right? So what is that's a short term. What's a medium term solution as the social housing issue is being addressed at national level and county? So how long would the cash be able to support this family for?
Not for long.
And then what happens after the cash runs out? I mean, how do we say that we are supporting this family that's been affected? They have moved from the lowlands of Mathare. They have moved to higher grounds in Mathare. They are paying rent. They lost everything. They lost their
Everything.
They lost their belongings.
Kila kitu mpaka sufuria na kijiko na kikombe. Everything gone, plus clothes, right?
Yeah.
So what is this support looking like from now, 6 months, a year?
That is catastrophic kwa sababu even as we donate in kind, even as we give this in kind, bado sustainability inakuwa a bit problematic.
It's bound to be. It's bound to be problematic. But again, what I'd like to hear more of is how organizations such as the one you represent,
Yeah.
and I'm sure in such there are many, how they're working with the county government. Because if everyone is a lone ranger, you're going to be duplicating these services. Okay?
Yeah.
How are you working with the county government or with the national government?
Well, it wasn't until recently that we started seeing the county government and the national government come to the ground. On day 1 and day 2 of floods, we had to
You had to act.
to act. But now that we are here with Waziri, we can sit down and see how we can especially harmonize our data, wale wako victims, and then see what help we can give them as we talk about getting housing for them in the long run, 6-7 months from now, maybe.
It's imperative that you do that because there are things the government can do that you can't do.
I agree.
Yes, and there are things they're even willing to do.
We are grateful for that.
Yes.
Okay. But what I also hear, Waziri, we've got to let you go. You'd asked that we go up to past, or can you stay longer? Okay. 30:30. Is that your department, as the coordinator of the response to this, needs to be completely in touch with those community actors, such as Wanjiras and the others, that to know in Mathare, I've got a network of so-and-so people on the ground in the community that are feeding me information that I'm using to liaise with the community and saying, this is the communication. I'd like you to move. The people who can actually convince them to move are these guys.
Okay.
You come as government, they'll be like, ongeza hii pesa. Ulikuwa wapi unakuja sahi, right? And then Wanjira can come and tell you, this is what the people are saying, their immediate need. Like now she's mentioned something. Things like sanitation, right? So women and children, if you just go and provide blankets and mattresses,
provide the sanitation,
right?
too, yeah.
So there is also now the sanitation. How much is required? Are there communities, are there areas where people have not been captured? How can we extend the support to those areas? So this is basically just a call for your department to
probably
extend its network.
I want to maybe let Wanjira know that we have our ward administrators and sub-county administrators. I don't know if you're working alongside with them, our ward administrators, because they are trying to make sure that they convey all the information from the ground. Secondly, I want to appreciate that Wanjira can talk about having a better housing facilities. And most of the time when we talk about now we want to bring good change in terms of better housing, most of these people who dwell in slum areas will always come and resist and say, no, we are comfortable with our situation. We are not moving. Having Wanjira and other team on board who can help us in terms of having the public participation and convincing these people that we can now do good flats for them, probably in better places for them just to move in so that they can have that dignity. I think it can be a noble idea. Secondly, I also want to talk about this, that if this a national calamity, it's a disaster, we need now to ask different players, both private and public players, just to come and work together, like standard group. They can go out of their way and come and help some of these families. It's something that can be done, and once it becomes a collective responsibility, most of these problems can be fixed. We always come and talk about the government and ask, what's the government doing? We're paying taxes. But now this is a calamity. Private players can really come out and do something that is paramount in terms of helping the victims who've been affected.
True, but also the Public Finance Management Act states that 2% of county allocations should be set aside by each county for disaster management emergencies in every financial year. So there are years we don't have this problem.
Very little, that one.
It is 846 million shillings
Every year?
every single year for Nairobi.
For Nairobi.
And has there been a disaster or calamity in Nairobi every year?
Yes.
Every year. And have we seen that 840 million has gone towards that?
And that money has been sent, so it's not as though the money isn't there. So we are talking about
There's a
846
proposal that they have
million.
done from the national government. It's a proposal that we yet to receive the money. We haven't received the money. Right now we are working with our own source revenue, whatever the collections we are getting, just to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last year, November, there was 8.2 billion approved for disaster, actually. I saw in the news.
We can't, those are just hearsays.
No,
We
no,
can't
no.
have
8.2 billion is a lot for a 19 billion budget.
You can't.
Yes. Was that for
I
the
read
nation?
No, you need to. Some of these are.
Was that for the
propaganda.
nation?
The news, yeah.
Was that for the nation or the county?
The nation.
Oh, it's countrywide.
Nation,
Yeah.
yes.
The national government.
Yeah.
There's always this little problem of budgets, allocations, and them actually arriving
Yes.
in the county. There's always that little detail. Yes. Yes.
Lakini unajua ulipata, si uliona Rigathi alikuja na blanketi jana.
Nafikiri hizo blanket
Hazikutosha.
Lakini si ndio hiyo pesa sasa.
mattress 500 ni nyingi dada.
Ni mingi lakini aki hazikutosha.
Unajua how much a mattress is in government wewe? Mzalendo Wanjira, community organizer, co-founder of the Mathare Social Justice Center, and the work that they are doing now to support those that have been affected by the current situation in Mathare. And you're saying there are many people. So you've launched a public drive to support people in this area. Now, of course, people have seen what's been happening. We've seen it in the news. We've seen on social media. We've seen people who've gone there and who've reacted to this. Those other people have even visited there and seen for themselves. And you've told us the situation is dire. There are people who are in areas that have not been reached by government and Red Cross and the others. There are those who are even in those areas, but the kind of support they are receiving is not sufficient. So what is the immediate need according to the Mathare Social Justice Center, and what are you seeking to do to support them?
The immediate needs, according to our assessment right now, is food, first of all. Some people are so hungry, were shaking yesterday. So food, providing warm food, and then places that they can sleep in the meantime, as we had said, mattresses and blankets and warm clothes, because you can see it's still raining, the cold weather inaendelea. So immediate needs ni hizo warm clothes, and then books for the pupils that are going back to school. A lot of books, a lot of bags and mattress and uniforms. And then for the women and girls, we still need those sanitary needs.
How are you, putting funds together? I mean, I asked, how is it happening today? Who is doing it? Who is coordinating? How is it coming in?
We are working together with various organizations within the community, within Mathare, the justice centers. We are working with Gator Foundation and Mathare Network, and we're trying to see how we can mobilize for more resources online. We're working with Mchanga, pay bill number, and some who are not able to use either the Mchanga or the pay bill number, they can send directly to the phone number. We're also receiving donations in kind, and we are trying to distribute them door to door to the affected families, because sometimes verification of data is very important on who has been affected and reaching to the victims themselves. So that's how we're trying to coordinate this and setting up community kitchens to the various areas that have been affected. So we have a community kitchen in Brady, Mathare. We are setting up 3 more community kitchens along Mabatini area, along Mathare 4B, and along Vet in Mathare.
You've said we very many times.
Yes, we.
I'd like to understand this we.
Yeah.
Who are we?
We are
The people.
You know, this work needs a team. You cannot
Yes,
do
it
this
does.
work
Yes,
alone.
it does. We want
We
to
need-
highlight these people so that we know
Yeah,
who they
I
are
want to-
and the public knows who they are.
This is the Ecological Justice Network.
Yes.
Under the Mathare Social Justice Center. This is the Teen Moms Network. This is the Dobie Women Network. This is the Ghetto Foundation. This is a network of Kenyans that are just giving support. We've had support from University of Nairobi students who've mobilized among themselves. We've had support from Java Foundation, who brought us breakfast on one of the days there was flooding. We have seen the love that Kenyans have for each other in this time. We have seen a lot of Kenyans.
Don't be afraid to mention those who have supported you.
I want to thank Sarika very much, who has been every day calling to ask Wanjira, what do you need? Wanjira, what can we do? Wanjira, how can we mobilize better? So Sarika and Johanna have been very helpful during this time, and our networks across the world as Mathare Social Justice Center. And our advisory council, Arnav Kapoor, also at MSJC, has helped us really get support. Naomi Van Stapel. There's support that we are receiving across the country, and we are really grateful for the solidarity that Wakenya tunaonyesha. Yeah.
So this is the thing, Wanjira, even as you do that, even as these activities continue, the mobilization of funds, mobilization of, a lot of these items that people need. The truth of the matter is that the rains will continue. This is what we've been told. I've actually just seen, another alert from Kenya Met now. And we're talking about quite some more intense rain over the next week until at least the 5th of May, right? The question is, and Waziri has said this a number of times, are we looking at a situation where if folks are asked to leave, right?
Yeah.
Can they? I'm asking this in as sensitive a way as I can.
Yeah.
Because if folks are like this money that's being mobilized, if folks are told move to an area where we will not see this kind of intense flooding, where your homes will be destroyed or where you'll be marooned again, would people go? If you say, look, go find another place where you can rent for 2,000 shillings, 1,000 shillings,
Will it happen?
will it happen?
I think
will
it
they
will
go?
happen. I think it will happen, but I don't think it's a sustainable solution in the long run, because the month will end. Why would they get this 2,000 again to parent?
So this is the assumption,
Yeah.
right? That folks are doing something
Yeah.
every day where they lived, that there's some kind of economic activity that they're involved in at whatever level, that they were getting something to eat every day by virtue of the fact that they did a job, whatever it is, Wanjira. That was the assumption, right? Because you lived, you ate, your children went to school before the rain came and kind of washed everything away. So the assumption is that activity will continue. Or are we saying that the flooding situation came and literally and figuratively washed away everything, including the work or jobs that they had to do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you are cooking every day
serving
for
food.
community members,
Yes. Okay.
your kazi has gone. So you're trying to figure out, how do I start again?
Okay.
So if you get some money to relocate, you're asking, do I set up my business? Do I relocate?
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. So, like, for example, if you had a border business, for example,
Yeah.
you were doing it in the area, and now there's no area. Literally, that's what we're saying.
There's no area, or even there's no border,
Because it went.
because it went with the water.
This is the severity of what we're talking
This is the
about.
severity of what we're
So
talking
it's not
about.
just a solution where I tell you, well, here's 10,000 bob, you
No.
move and let's keep it moving, right?
It's not sustainable.
Essentially, we're saying, okay, so what happens when I'm at the end of the rent?
Yeah.
how do I survive every day?
How can we come up with a sustainable solution long term? Yeah, that's
are there ideas being discussed in this?
Oh, we are having a meeting this evening at the center this afternoon when I leave to think about how best we can do this for our community, even as we seek to partner with Waziri when we sit down as a team. What solutions can we also try and because the solutions must come from the people. The people must say, this is what we think would work best for us at this particular time. Yeah.
Okay. So now you're mobilizing people who are watching and listening and people who will catch this information later. How do they support?
They can send support in kind or in cash to our pay bill number. Just give me a moment to read that. But we are receiving and a lot of donations. I also want to thank Wanjira, who came with a lorry of clothes yesterday at the center. She must be a very good community organizer as well, having convinced her community to give donations to the people of Mathare.
It's a truckload of clothes that came.
Yeah.
That is one serious person.
That's a very good
That
move.
is, Wanjira Dande, asante sana, my dear.
Because then also, if you can, link people up with various people such as Wanjira can then, communicate and say, if you're in this kind of neighborhood, this is how we can do it. If you've got maybe clothes that you'd like to donate, you can then donate through your, community neighborhoods and the food, and the clothes or whatever else you're donating. Because like you're saying, even just sufuria, kijiko, kikombe,
kila kitu
sahani,
inahitajika kwa sababu
mwiko, kichungi, all those things are needed, and the people would appreciate them. So that entire network, as you give us the pay bill, also give us the network. Somebody who is listening to this and they're in South B, South C, how can they, and they have got, they're looking and they're saying, I can actually donate one or two things. I can donate a karai, I can donate a towel, I can donate...
Or old clothes, where can I drop them off, kind of thing,
Where can, yes.
Yeah, a set of spoons. Yeah, and I also want to thank Lily, who has offered her car to go and pick donations from various places, from various people who are not able to come. So she says, if anyone has something to give and they call you and we're not able to, give me a call, nitaenda nichukue nizilete center. So thank you so much, Lily, for that.
So this thing that Waziri talks about, where he says that Kenyans ought to come together and actually help out the government, because it is a national, it's a national calamity.
Kenyans
it's already happening.
It is.
It's happening.
It's happening already.
Yeah.
Okay, the pay bill number?
Our pay bill number is 4060187. 4060187. The account name is the Mathare Social Justice Center, but for short, MSJC.
Mathare Social Justice
account.
Center.
Yes.
That's the account number, account name.
That's the account
And then
name.
you put in whatever amount, of course.
Yes,
Right.
put in whatever amount, even if it is 200 shillings. It will go to buy a packet of unga that we shall cook
Okay.
for Uji.
Drop-off points.
Drop-off point is at the Mathare Social Justice Center, which is along Juja Road, opposite Shell Petrol Station. Mathare Social Justice Center, along Juja Road, opposite Shell Petrol Station.
Okay. There's proper signage someone can see?
Yeah, there's a proper signage.
All right. And so there are those then that are saying, if you are, a community mobilizer, and you're able to mobilize your community to get those things, get clothes, get utensils, get whatever is needed by somebody who's alive, but they've lost everything that they had. Shoes, ata socks,
Kila kitu.
everything. How can they get in touch with you?
They can come to our community center, or we will be at various community centers. There's people wearing ecological justice reflectors, so they can get in touch with one of our team members and to partake your documentation.
Are you on social media?
Yes, we are on
Can
social
they
media.
DM you on social media?
You can DM me on social
Are you
media.
responsive? Like, do you respond after 3 days?
No.
1 week?
In this period, I am receiving so many calls, but I am also checking my DMs on Twitter especially.
Okay.
So I will get back.
What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is at Wanjira.
At Wanjira.
The name is Mzalendo Wanjira, but the Twitter handle is at Wanjira.
With ends before the J's.
Yes.
In both cases.
Yes.
And what about people who want to volunteer at the center?
Karibu, we need volunteers now to help us cook in the various community kitchens we have set up to help us cook and maybe serve, and tunahitaji volunteers. If the only thing you can do is volunteer your time, get in touch with me as well. We can make arrangements.
And I raised this with the Waziri. Now that schools are closed and we've got the Dishina County kitchens, have you thought of reaching out to them and saying, what's the organization called? Food for?
Nice. Over to
Food for education?
Food for education. Food for education. Reaching out to Food for Education, they have done this. They do this all the time. They know how to mobilize, to how to do central kitchen, how to distribute food. Have you reached out to them?
Yes, we have worked with Food for Education. They brought food at Undugu and also Krishna. Walileta chakula kwa community. So how we did is they were at one central place, and we mobilized the community members who were affected to go at Undugu and get some hot meals there. But it was only for a day. Yeah.
Okay. So the message here is that they know it's possible for us to come together.
It is very possible.
And to come and support.
Yes.
But usually when we do this, we are doing this in response to an emergency. And we expect that somebody else will then take it up and think long-term, medium-term to long-term, what's the lasting solution? And if you can come back to the people and say, so we have thought through, this is the solution that can support 6 months down the road, this is a solution that can support these people to get a livelihood back, then this is what we'll be asking for. I suppose that's a challenge that we're putting to you as the Mathare Social Justice Center and the others. What, as you have this conversation with the communities, what do they think beyond this, beyond what's going on now? Once the floods recede, then what?
Okay.
As you're mobilizing for this, we have to think of the then what.
For sure. I agree. And I want us to remember the Mukuru people.
Yep.
At some point they were evicted. And up to now, Mukuru people are still in tents, even in this cold weather. So when we talk about solutions, when we say affordable housing, it needs to be really affordable. Because if affordable housing was working, these people who are living along the river could be living in those affordable houses, yeah? The people who are living in tents in Mukuru could have gotten to those affordable houses. But what we see, for example, the affordable houses in Pangani, the people of Mathare were paying diligently some 200 shillings every month. Ilikuwa inaitwa boma yangu. Yeah, walikuwa wanalipa, some even pay 1,000. And then at some point they were like, okay, what are we really paying for? Because the houses zingine zimemaliziwa, but we see there's room for parking hapo chini. So are these houses being built really for people of Mathare and Mukuru, or people who are able to park their car downstairs when they go to the house?
Consider aspirational. Hata mtu wa Mathare anaweza kununua gari.
Yeah. And also it's a combination of both the social housing and affordable housing. It's just that you're saying that, just because you've come from Mathare doesn't mean that you cannot live in this neighborhood.
Yes.
In the same neighborhood as somebody who has, come from Golden Gate South B.
Indeed. The idea. The spirit of the people is one of resilience, that's for sure. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to go down without a fight from what we've seen. Is there hope? I mean, as you hear from people that, it'll get better. Mind you, that, again, like Eric has said, the waters will recede. The rains will stop. Things will dry up. Are people going to go back
To the river?
Yes.
No, we are not going to allow that. It's a risk to their lives, and the riparian land needs to be left. I feel like also the river is saying up to here, this is the space of the river, Yeah, so we are going to really advocate that people get away from the riparian land, to not risk their lives. But also we need to have a concrete plan. Sawa, tutoke twende wapi.
Kwani ni mafuriko ndio imekueleza kwamba kulikuwa na shida hii riparian land?
Hapana, tulikuwa tunatengeneza community parks along the riparian land actually last year kama ecological justice network, na tulikuwa na 3 community parks: Mathare Community Park, Ghetto Farmers Park na Green Park. Hizi parks zote zimekuwa destroyed by the river except Ghetto Farmers that have very strong bamboos along the river. So we were talking with Humphrey yesterday and we said the best thing we can do is plant these bamboos all along the
river.
Mathare River because we've seen their strength and resilience. Na pia watu wengine walikuwa wanashikilia bamboo wakikuwa swept by the river. So a lot of people were rescued there at the Ghetto Farmers Community Park. Wanashikilia bamboo, watu wanakuja wanawatoa. Yeah.
The reason why I asked you that question is for a simple reason. There are many problems that can be averted. You see, now we have a problem and we're trying to find a solution for a problem that, if you look at it, could have been averted.
I completely agree with you.
Yes. Could have been avoided completely. Now,
Yeah.
how do we ensure, because what you're doing is remarkable, and for you to have what you're doing and the way you're doing it means you have the support of the people you're working among.
Sure.
How do you get people to support, the very people who live there? How do you get them to support such initiatives? So that even in the absence, even if the people who work in your organization are not present, just the people who live around there but not living in riparian land are the ones who will ensure that nobody sets up any residential outfit within that area.
So those are conversations already people are having kwa sababu watu wengine wameanza kununua mabati and trying to get there, so we can see the youths themselves going and saying we are not going to allow you to set up a house near the river again, even if it is cheaper. We are risking our lives. Unajua what has happened in Mathare is something we have never seen before. We have never seen such catastrophe, such loss of life. As we are documenting, tunasikia mtu anatuambia, my 2 children went with the river. You know. So this has been very also traumatizing for us, and no one wants to build along the river as well. And even if they do, the community is stepping in and saying this is too risky. We have already lost so many children. We have already lost children. We've lost too many lives.
Mzalendo Wanjira, thank you very much for joining us. Wanjira is a community organizer. She's the co-founder of the Mathare Social Justice Center. Please support what they're doing. The pay bill number again, 4060187, and the account name will be MCJS.
MSJC. Mathare
Social Justice Center. MSJS. JC, the other way around. Mathare Social Justice Center. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. Have a lovely day.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.